Welcome to the September 12th, 2022 Foxborough Select Board. I call the meeting to order, noting the time and presence of the quorum. And we'll do a roll call vote. Diana?
Here.
Wes?
Present.
Wes?
Present.
Don?
Present.
And Jennifer present. Okay. All right. So the first thing we'll do is the announcements. Okay. So we have a couple of committees that are still looking for participants. Public Celebrations and Ceremonies Committee.
Jen, your microphone is really weak. Usually it's very good. Some adjustment you can make?
Let's see.
Go into the Zoom settings.
It's saying that my microphone is all the way up. So is that better?
Not really. You know what? You sound like you're echoing. Is there something giving you feedback there? No?
No.
That's better. It's directional. Turn your head to your left and speak.
Oh, you know what? Maybe it's coming through my other monitor. I've got two monitors set up. I'll try to fix that in a second.
Okay.
I'm going to go through the announcements quickly. So we've got a couple groups that are looking for new members: the Public Celebrations and Ceremonies Committee, Council on Aging. Town Administrator interviews will wrap up this Thursday and we start at 4 p.m. We had 2 interviews last week. They were very well attended. It was great to see members of the community there. I think that shows what an involved community we have. Because we didn't want to give any of the candidates from the second night an advantage or disadvantage to the first 2 candidates, we will not be airing the interviews until after, because it's not fair to people to be able to see the questions being asked and the responses. Okay, so board meetings are all invited to, board members are invited to attend a workshop on how to manage effective meetings. Kelly Price has some more information on that. That's through the Well-Being Committee. Thank you to the fire department for putting together a brief 9/11 ceremony. That was really nice to see. The Foxborough Minutemen Company is looking for new members. You can email Captain Dave Bull at captain@foxboroughminutemen.org. They will be having a company meeting on Sunday, September 18th at the Foxborough Community Center at 30 Middle Road, starting 8 p.m. So if you have a concern about an item that's not on the agenda, please raise during community concerns. If you have a question or comment about an agenda item, you will be recognized after the board members have had a chance to speak. Due to time constraints, we may not be able to accommodate comments from all residents on all topics. Please wait to be recognized by the chair before addressing the board. This is a forum for public input, questions, and criticism. However, we ask all participants be respectful and civil. If a community member displays behavior repeatedly that is inappropriate and which does not respect the chair's right for Massachusetts general law to ask someone to stop speaking at any point, they will be muted for the meeting and may not be called on in the future. Thank you for your understanding. Okay, so moving on, we have the approval of the minutes. Does anyone have any comments or questions on the minutes?
I had a comment on the August 15th minutes.
Okay.
Okay, I just wanted to clarify, it's on second page under committee comments and reports. The last bullet point before we got to the adjournment. I just want to change. Member Markowitz noted that Campanelli's plans for Beaverbrook are moving forward. Just change that first piece. I just think it helps clarify.
Hold on a second, I'm having trouble.
I was having trouble. I was trying to fix my sound.
Well, yeah, it's much better now. You did it.
That's great.
Yeah.
What did you do?
It was coming through my headphones.
Okay.
Okay. So, did anybody have any other changes or comments on the minutes? Okay. Do I have a motion to approve the amended minutes from August 15th and 22nd?
So
So
moved.
moved.
Second?
Okay. All right. I'm going to say Diana moved, John seconded. Are there any further discussion? Okay, we'll do a roll call. Diana,
Lepari, aye.
Les,
Fox eye.
Wes,
Okay.
John,
What's aye?
and Campbell, I. All right. Do we have any community concerns?
I just want to let you know Carter's in the waiting room.
Oh, great. We should probably let him in.
Yep.
Okay, it looks like Steve Ballard has a comment. Can we unmute him?
Hello, good evening. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, good. Thank you. Yeah, I know that I sent you an email about this already, but and I heard you say something about it, Jennifer, already to start the evening. But the process for selecting the town administrator, I don't agree that it.
Oh, Steve, you're breaking up. I can't hear him. Can anyone hear him?
No.
Okay.
No.
There you
Are you-
are.
Now, I'm sorry. Can you hear me now? No?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, you can hear me?
Yes.
Okay, I'm so sorry about that. Yeah, so I just briefly, I don't like the fact that you're going dark on this final interviews of the candidates. I mean, I know that normally the public doesn't even speak, but last time that Boxborough and Acton and the school district all did this in 2018, they were televised. Everything was televised. You had it all day long. You ended up having only Ryan and one other candidate in the morning, and in the afternoon you did your deliberations, and the public was there and you could see it in real time. I just don't understand that that it would matter if these other candidates can hear the questions in advance. I mean, they should know what the questions are likely to be, and I don't see that's a real concern that outweighs the the tradition of having the public at least be able to hear what's going on. And I think if you if you did that, you would certainly prevent yourself from looking like you're doing this on purpose because you're hiding something. And I don't think you are. I think they're really good candidates, and the public should be able to see this in real time, not after the fact.
Okay.
But yeah, the other side, I know this is on the agenda, but I'm also happy to see that Officer Gath is going to be promoted. And I just wish that you would already terminate a couple of
Okay.
acting
No,
sergeants.
nope, Steve, that's not appropriate.
Well, I think it is. And I would also like to thank you for in advance for accepting the resignation of Boxborough Becky. That's also a very positive change.
Okay,
There should be
again,
more. Thank you. That's all.
all right. So new business, we have introductions of new employees and promotions. I think the chief, are you going first?
I can, if you like, Madam Chairman.
Sure, that'd be great.
Okay, the first one would be request for appointment for a full-time police officer. I sent a letter off stating that we have a candidate, Bradley Lupinani, for the position of full-time police officer. Brad comes to us from Great Barrington, where he spent the past 3 years as a patrolman. He's working his way to a degree. He has 3.5 years into a BA degree with Western New England College. So when he does complete that, he'll be compensated appropriately upon completion. Looking to have him join us within the next 2 weeks, start his field training. It'll be a welcomed addition for us. We've been down some people, as you know, because of a few different reasons. So we can use all the help we can get. So I believe he's on the call if you'd like to have him introduce himself.
That would be great. Can we unmute him? You're unmuted now. Hi.
Thank you, Chief. Hi, nice to meet you, ma'am. Let me see if I can, there we go. Hey, can you hear me?
Yep.
Say about yourself, Fred.
Hey, yeah, my name's Bradley Lupiani. As Chief said, I've been a full-time police officer in Barrington for 3 years. I worked part-time there for a year and a half. I was born and raised here in this town, and I know a few guys on the department out there, and I kind of wanted to explore and see new opportunities, and Boxborough that caught my eye, and it seems like it'd be a good fit for me.
Well, welcome.
Thank you.
Sounds like you'd be a great addition to the force.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining. Do you
Yes.
have like the commute is like 130 miles each way?
Yeah.
I can't. I don't envy that.
I will be moving. Find out. So.
That's great. And Carter, we don't have to appoint, correct?
Correct. This is just an introduction this evening. The select board has delegated, with certain limited exceptions, the appointment authority to the town administrator, but we do want to make sure that you're meeting each and every person that's coming into the employ of the community.
Okay, well, thank you and welcome, Brad.
Thank you. Nice to meet everybody.
Yeah.
Good luck, Brad, and I'll see you when you come in.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The second appointment tonight would be a acting police sergeant. As you know, I asked the board a while back if we can conduct a full-blown assessment, which we did on August 30th. We had 4 candidates from within the department who participated. It was an all-day exercise. I had Rajan sit in on the whole thing to show the complexity of an assessment center, the difference between having a written test and testing skills, knowledge, and ability. And I'm pleased to report that Officer Philip Gath, topped the assessment, and be looking forward to having him work with us in our command staff as an acting sergeant. I believe he's on the call. If he is, I'd like him to say a couple words.
I am. Thank you, Chief. I just want to say thank you, Chief, and the department for the support and guidance. You have gone through this whole process. It's been a great learning experience, and I'm looking forward to the next step in my career here in Boxborough.
So I've worked with Officer Gath at the school for a number of years, and I can tell you he has great rapport with the students and the teachers and the faculty. He's always been professional. I think this is fantastic.
Thank you, John.
Congratulations.
Thank you, John.
Congratulations.
I'll
thank
second
you.
that. I've been talking to Phil over the years for a long time, and I think he'd be a great addition to the force. So good going, Phil.
Thank you.
Not an addition, just a stepping up.
Phil's actually in a 1-week sergeant school, started today. He'll be off in training this whole week. When he gets back next week, we'll be looking forward to have the clerk swear him in as the acting sergeant, and we're going to have a meeting with the full command staff and start reassigning duties.
Well, terrific.
That's great.
Congratulations. And thank you, Chief.
Thank you. One other thing before I leave, Carter, can I mention administrative assistant?
Yes, by all means.
I have some other good news to report that, as you know, Ashley left, and with her leave, a huge hole in the department. We've been trying to fill in doing budgets and payroll and bills, and it's been a learning experience for me, and one that I can pass along very shortly. We did put out an offer to a woman from Littleton. Her name is Elizabeth Honeshell. She comes very well. She has a lot of experience in this field of bookkeeping, and she's going to be a great asset to the police department. I thought I saw her on the call also. If she is, I'd like her just to show her face and introduce.
There she is. Oh, let's unmute you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, welcome.
Okay.
Thank you. Yeah, I was tuning in to sort of just get abreast of Foxborough, and I didn't expect to go on, so sorry for being in a sweatshirt. But I'm super excited to be starting with Boxborough. I spoke to Ashley today, and we're going to get in and get some training done, and I'm hoping it can be a permanent home for me, so I'm excited.
Well, great. Now that's a good
great.
commute.
Yeah, that's
Liz-
great for me.
Liz, can you just tell us a little bit about yourself and a little bit about your background?
Sure. So I am currently a single mom of 4 children. I lost my husband 7 years ago to cancer. We ran a successful trucking and carpentry business for over 20 years and actually did the route right in Boxborough. I worked right out of the Boxborough Depot for the highway department. So I plowed right in front of the police station, as ironic as that is. Due to just demands with the trucks, just, trying to run the business myself, I decided to shut it down. I took a job at a company called Insurity, and they allowed me to work at home, which was great. I recently found out that I would be losing the job. It's sort of like the last one in, the first one out. So I started to actively seek some other position. And I've worked for a doctor's office. I work for a landscaper part-time doing bookkeeping. So I'm very well suited for this job. And as far as accounts payables, accounts receivable, pay right, I know that we're going to work to combine the position with either accounting or the DPW or fire. I know that was up for talk this evening. But I'm very excited. I'm excited to start. So I think I'll be a good asset to you, and I'm glad to call it a home.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Glad to have you.
Thank you.
Thanks,
That's all.
Chief. Thanks, Chief. Okay, Ed, did you have someone to introduce?
I do. I thank you for inviting both of us here, and I'm glad to introduce the DPW's new Building and Grounds team leader. His name is Fran Flynn. He's not new to the DPW. He's been working with us since December of 2018, and during that time, he's done a great job. He's been a great addition and a great asset to the DPW and working in the community. He has some experience as a buildings and grounds maintenance worker. His family owned numerous apartments where he managed them and maintained them and repaired them as necessary. And he also worked for a company that maintained, repaired, and did mechanical work for golf course buildings. So this should suit him. He's a very intelligent gentleman, knows his stuff. So we shouldn't have any issues with with him just taking this and running with it. We'll have contact information soon on our website. He does have an email address now, and we will be doing a fillable form on our website so that people can go directly to him and not really have to go through myself or Linda to relay the messages to him. And he's been set up with his own computer, and he's all set to go. He actually did his first job in town hall. I guess somebody in the building department, somebody in your building contacted him and said a couple of toilets needed repairs, and he took care of that last Friday. So those are up and running, and we haven't had any callbacks. So I guess he did a great job repairing those. He is on tonight, I believe, and if he wants to introduce himself, that would be great.
Hey, thank you very much, Ed, for the accolades.
Don't worry, you can pay me later.
Well, welcome to this position, and thank you for everything you're doing for Boxborough.
Yeah, congratulations.
Congratulations, Frank.
Thank you very much. Be happy to work with everybody.
Good.
That's
All right.
it for me.
Okay. We don't have any appointments tonight. So we'll move on to resignations. We have two. does anyone want to make a motion to accept the resignation of Becky Neville from the Affordable Housing Trust?
So moved.
So moved. Second.
All right, any discussion? Okay.
I just wanted to let Bradley or Francis and everybody know, like, you don't have to stay on. You're more than welcome to like stay here for the rest of this fun meeting, but you don't feel obligated to spend your evening with us.
Yeah, but we welcome you, so it's up to you. All right, so we've got that moved and seconded. All right, Diana?
Barry, aye.
Wes?
Fox eye.
Wes?
Okay.
John?
Markowitz, aye.
And Campbell, aye. Thank you to Becky for your service. And we have one from Becca Edson from the Boxborough Building Committee. Does anyone
Yes.
want?
Yeah, let me speak
Yeah.
to that, Jen. Becca has been appointed to the building committee for a long time, since the beginning, essentially, and has been unable to attend a lot of meetings due to her work schedule. And so I finally suggested to her that it would be good if she could resign so we could see about having someone else from that community fill that slot. And she agreed, and so she did give us a letter of resignation. So I want to thank her for what she was able to do for the committee while she was there, and we look forward to having someone fill her shoes.
Thank you. Do you want to make the motion?
I will. I would move to accept the resignation of Becca Edson from the Boxborough Building Committee.
Second.
Okay, any further discussion?
I just want to say that, Becca's continued to do a great job on RecCom as well. So she's still contributing to the community.
Okay, well, that's good. Diana?
Barry, aye.
Les?
Fox eye.
Wes?
Okay.
John?
Markowitz, aye.
And Campbell, aye. Thank you to both of them. Okay, so now if we could make Jesse and Al, is there anyone else who needs to be made unmuted for now?
All right. I actually did
Channing
prepare.
Wag needs to be unmuted as well.
Who?
Channing Wag.
Oh, Channing Wag. Okay, thank you. Whenever you're ready, Jesse.
All right. Can you allow me to share the screen, please?
Go ahead, Jesse.
Wonderful.
Thanks, Kirby.
Thank you. No problem. Sorry.
I appreciate it. Well, that's not the screen I wanted to share. Let's see. Or maybe it is. Can you guys see my screen?
Yes.
Are you seeing the presentation?
It looks like a presentation. It says
okay.
proposal to include affordable homes.
Perfect.
It's there, Jesse.
Wonderful. I'm so used to Google at this point that Zoom is now harder to use. All right. Let me just get into my mode here. So my name is Jessie Robinson, and I'm here representing the Boxborough Housing Board regarding the proposal to include affordable homes in refuse removal accessibility. So I've developed a quick agenda for you here, including a background, proposal, considerations, and a timeline. So for background, the Housing Board is vested really with the responsibility for the production and management of affordable housing stock in Boxborough. We're currently discussing ways to continue to support affordable homes in our community. Each meeting, we've discussed at length resources that are within our purview to help lift the marginalized up and into stability. Based on the information we've been given by owners themselves and our community services coordinator, affordable unit owners are finding it difficult to keep up with inflation currently. Our board has identified the following to propose that will directly help those affordable unit owners in Boxborough. So our proposal is to add 19 affordable units to the free sticker program. We currently have 266 affordable units of which 248 are already provided with refuse removal in their individual communities. The 19 units that are not allotted community-based refuse removal are as follows: Foxborough Meadows, 12 units, Summerfield, 6 units, and Craftsman Village at Elizabeth Brook, 1 unit. Foxborough currently offers seniors 65 plus the opportunity for a free transfer station sticker. This benefits seniors on a fixed income. The Housing Board believes this should be extended to the 19 affordable housing units that currently are required to purchase a transfer station sticker. As you can see here, the additional costs to be absorbed are minimal in comparison to the current revenue absorbed by the senior program, and we truly believe this will be impactful and a good thing to do at a reasonable cost. For our timeline, it has been identified as a current need. However, we do understand the implementation would not be feasible until fiscal year 2023, and we're asking for it to be added to that. We thank you for hearing our proposal. Please let us know if you have any questions, and we look forward to implementing this if possible.
Thank you for bringing this to us. Wes and then Diana.
Yeah, I was going to say this is really creative, and I think it's a really good approach to help those in the community. And I think that we might be able to flex it this year or figure out some way to accommodate those residents this year without having to make them wait until the next fiscal year. But that's just off the top of my head, and I don't really want to promise things that we can't deliver on. So, but yeah, thank you guys.
You're welcome.
Diana?
So I have a question about the other affordable units have refuse removal in part of their rent, or how is that taken care of? Because aren't they in a way paying for it nonetheless? Through their
They
rent?
have, it's included in all of their rental agreements, so that it would be included as a bonus benefit, or you could say maybe it is, looped into what they pay as rent.
Because my concern is that once you start down this road, now you may be targeting certain income levels just because someone lives in an affordable unit. And I'm not exactly sure the particular units that we're talking about. They have maybe qualified for them. Are they qualifying for them, continuing to qualify for those affordable units? I don't quite think that's the way it works. So now we get into a question of perhaps equivalent incomes that are lower or at that amount of the incomes of the people in the affordable units. It just becomes kind of a slippery slope. And also the people that are in affordable units where it's being provided, I think it is part of their rent. So it makes it a little difficult. First of all, you haven't answered what constitutes an affordable unit. What is the cutoff of that, and how did you determine that?
So actually, probably either Al or Channing, I'm not sure if you want to speak to how and what constitutes as those 266 units that are underneath our purview. But I can speak to the rent is, I think it's the accessibility. They are able to take their trash to a dumpster every day, and it is accessible to them. Their rent is capped at an affordable rate. So regardless of what they pay and that it's included in their rent, they're capped at an affordable rate. So they are able to make their rent payment. The people that are in the 19 units that do not have a dumpster or do not have a way to access trash removal at all are in a different predicament. No matter what, they would still need to purchase additional on top of their mortgage or rent as it is.
So perhaps that Al could answer what constitutes affordable housing of the units that, I mean, I've never asked this question, so I'm just curious as to what the designation refers to.
All the units we're talking about are Chapter 40B affordable housing units. And in order to qualify for those units, they have to make an income that's less than 80% of the area median income. It's a income standard that's published by HUD every year. And so these people are, low income people. And then that is the main thing that determines whether they qualify to go to these units. And, you know, on the slippery slope business, I mean, you could get into all kinds of philosophical arguments about who to help. I mean, there's certainly lots of people in town, other than those people that are in affordable housing units, that are having trouble. But these are our people. And it's within our people, our purview to help them. And, you know, we consider that our responsibility. And that's what Jeff's proposing, a way to help these people survive the current economic climate.
So affordable housing units are not just rental units, they're also purchased units, correct?
They could be either. They could be rental units and purchase units. I think all the ones that we'd actually end up paying the sticker for are home ownership units. We only have one rental affordable 40B development in Boxborough, and that's Paddock Estates. But there, the affordable rent is also determined by a formula that includes all the housing costs and demands that the total housing costs, including rent and several other things, be less than the standard realtor rule of thumb for an 80% area median income.
I'm sorry. I'm just talking about this as a general thing. Obviously, 19 people, it's not an issue in terms of the actual income to the town, really, in my opinion. But the fact of the matter is, someone could have purchased an affordable housing unit 10 years ago, and that affordable housing unit has appreciated dramatically. And it doesn't necessarily mean that the people in those affordable units have necessarily, at this point in time, low income, because I doubt they're reevaluated every year. So I'm just bringing this up because I think it's something that needs to be.
First of all, the unit does not appreciate dramatically. The resale price is limited by a number of constraints, all designed so it doesn't appreciate dramatically. Typical.
They do cap the amount that you can make as profit when turning it over to the next one as well. So it's not a appreciating asset.
No, and I just want to say that if somebody was qualified for one of these units and then was able to then improve their income or their stature, then we should think of that as a success, not as that the program worked.
It's possible there is a person like that, but as Jesse said, based on our inputs, they're few and far between. I don't think there are any really rich people in affordable units around. Maybe there's one. We certainly haven't conducted a survey, but it's absolutely untrue that these people are going to make a killing in the real estate market. They can't because of the constraints of their deed writer.
Right. Okay, Les and then John.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that affordability is determined by DACD affordability rules tied to the HUD rules Al mentioned. And the telling thing is that a unit, whether it's an ownership unit or an apartment, would be designated as affordable by a deed restriction on an ownership unit, which ties the appreciable allowed market improvement of that unit and a similar formula to rental properties. So the affordability is not subject to any vagaries. That's laid down in rules set out by DHCD, and it goes with the property, basically.
Okay, John and then Channing.
Yeah, just a couple of things. First of all, I think 19 people, I mean, the maximum revenue lost to the community is less than $3,000. And it could be that some of these people that are in the affordable units are 65 and over. We don't know that. So they would qualify for a free sticker. So I think this makes a lot of sense. The thing that I would like us to understand is if we have other individuals who are not in affordable housing units, but are living under the 80% income level as established by HUD, would those people be eligible? And then how would we handle those people? That's something that we probably need to consider further down the road, but I think it needs to be considered what the impact of that would be and how would we handle that?
Okay, does anyone want to speak to that before turning over to Channing, or maybe you can speak to that?
Well,
I'm sorry.
I just want to say that was the criteria, because when I said it was a slippery slope, because we may very well have people who are not technically in affordable housing that fall at or below that income level. So that's where it starts to get complicated when you start carving out special privileges.
Yeah, I think you're right. It could get complicated, but this is an identifiable way that we can help 19 households, and it's not just people. So, all right, Channing.
Well, I think John and Diana are following the proper theme. But first, I'd like to compliment Jessie on the initiative and poise to get up in front of the management committee and make her case here. And she's doing very well, has done very well. I think certainly as far as her particular points are made, it's obviously not a cost to the town of any meaningful amount. It makes a lot of sense to do it on the face of it. The difficulty comes when you try to write a general rule for who should be in or out and exactly how to determine that. And oddly enough, I think Boxborough Meadows gets its roads plowed by the town, even though I'm not sure those are town roads. So there are all kinds of things in the mix, I think. Plus, we've never really been able to determine what the economic needs are of the various cohorts of the town. We have census data. We know that there's a certain percentage, but the margins are not very helpful, and so on and so forth. So I don't honestly know how to establish an overview or a larger picture, a conceptual picture of how the town should help its residents. I mean, you can do it piecemeal, and perhaps there's nothing wrong with that, and I'm off base, but I always like to think you get a cohesive and coherent concept or policy that makes it ties it together somehow. And being on the well-being committee, I don't think ever able to do that, and we're still plugging away at it on the housing board. So I would kind of buck that up to the select board and say, perhaps you need to do some thinking about how to define all of this, or delegate it out to some group of committee members, various committee members, to try to come up with a proposal or some information that you could further consider. In the short term, I certainly support Jessie's appeal.
Thank you. Les, and then Jessie.
Yeah, I'd say in terms of trying to understand how to identify and fairly serve a segment that has needs. Now, the Housing Board has been running a program called BRAP for, I don't know, 3 or 4 years now, very successfully. It's been supported by town meeting each and every one of those years, and it tries to service a segment that has defined economic needs. And there's a formulaic approach to that keeps it running pretty well. It's somewhat complicated to administer, but Al on the Housing Board has been doing a good job. Now, as general context, let me just say that some of you on this call may remember when we've had discussions in previous select board meetings years ago, where we talked about eliminating transfer station fees altogether because we already pay enough taxes, each and every one of us. So why are we doing this? So just keep that in mind when you try to decide what the right path forward is here. We never did fully resolve that. We never did really fully resolve that, other than to arrive at a yearly transfer station fee setting exercise.
Okay. Doesn't matter to me, Jessie or Channing.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was trying to get my hand down.
Oh, all right.
You're good.
There, I guess I got it.
The one thing that I can say here is, as discussing this as a board in our board meetings, really we came up with these 19 units because they are deed restricted. They are in that grouping that is deed restricted. The rest of them are not. They're in, well, they're in affordable housing in other areas that are also deed restricted that aren't available to the stickers. So the easy identifier at this particular stage is we can assist those on deed riders at this particular time with these stickers. And that would be your qualifier, the way that you can identify these people. And I'm sure Wellbeing Committee could probably easily take this up as an additional, there might be other people, or even the coordinator, the community coordinator, there could be other people that could help the others, but this is within the Housing Board's purview to assist and maintain and monitor this particular group of people under deed riders, which is why I think it makes sense to do it this way.
Yeah.
So Jesse, oh, I'm sorry, I'll wait to be called. So Jesse, what you're saying is that these individuals, these 19 individuals, have a specific deed rider that indicates that, and that's the way that we could identify them. So that if we were to do this program and stated that it was specifically only for individuals that had this type of rider, we could allow that to occur. And as far as you know, there are only 19 of these in town, or could there be others that are not under your purview?
There are only 19 that are under deed riders in the town that do not have access to a dumpster area available. Correct.
Okay. Okay. So I think that's very important. That's very important. That I think that's very important information, because you've given us a way to define the people that would be eligible.
Excuse me, to jump in, it's not identifying the people per se, it's identifying the units. And you have to have the right income qualification to actually live in those units. So it ties off very nicely.
All right.
So it's a way to put a boundary around it.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Al?
I just want to clarify. I mean, certainly the affordable units in Summerfields all have deed riders, but they are not in the 19 count because they're all over 55. They get free dump stickers. We only tried to estimate what the cost would be, and the 19 units is got to be an overestimate, because as John said, some of those people are already qualified because they're seniors. So, we're not talking about big bucks here, but I just want to clarify the business about deed riders.
Okay.
Okay. Do I have a motion to approve the request of the Affordable Housing Trust? Yes, Channing.
One last comment. Yeah. Please don't anyone try to poach Jesse off the housing board. We're very, very happy with
I already was thinking about that.
So hands off. She's ours. Okay.
Okay.
So Jennifer, I just have one question. For us to be able to proceed with this, I think Channing hit the nail on the head in terms of being able to write this in a proper manner. Okay. So I think we probably need the correct verbiage, and the correct verbiage approved by town council would be my guess.
Well, I think that they would be coming up with the verbiage, but I think all we have to do is to approve their plan to move forward. Is that correct, Carter?
My suggestion would be that the staff would return perhaps within 2 weeks, giving the press of other business, such as what we spent part of our afternoon on, the chair and I. It might be 4 weeks for you to amend your policy with respect to who you charge and how much you charge and how you waive for the transfer station. And then we'll have to work out for those who've already purchased their stickers, if it's your intent to make this for this fiscal year, we'll have to work out a mechanism to reimburse those who have purchased stickers already.
Okay.
So I'll move to approve the request of the Affordable Housing Trust.
Well, let me modify that. This is not really a request of the Housing Trust. This is a request of the Housing Board.
Right.
Okay. Right.
I'll
Okay.
second that. Second.
All right. Is there any further discussion?
So I would just like to say that I think we need to add to that motion, subject to Carter's returning to us with an official policy that is written, because I think the request is one thing, but I think we do need to vote on the policy, and I think this motion should be subject to our approval of that policy.
Wes, you made the motion. Do you accept the amendment?
Yeah, that's reasonable.
Okay. All right. Diana,
Lepari, aye.
Les,
Fox eye.
Wes,
Folks,
John,
Markowitz, aye.
and Campbell, aye. Thank you guys so much for this. I think that's a great way to treat our citizens and keep them here and keep them doing what they need to do.
Thanks, Jesse. We
Yeah,
won't poach
thank you, and thank you, Jesse.
You're welcome, everyone.
Thank you, Jesse. Next presentation will be hers too.
Okay.
Yeah, good night, everybody.
Good night.
Right.
Thank you.
Good night.
So next we have Kelly Zosik. And then, so we'll go ahead with that. So we can have her unmuted, please.
Hello. Can you hear
Hi,
me?
Kelly. Yes.
Kelly.
Oh, good. So I'm here this evening to seek your approval for awarding the contract for the fiscal year 2024 reevaluation project to Patriot Properties in the amount up to $38,000. I don't know, I'm sure you received that in your packet. Were you all able to look it over?
Yes.
So, when you looked it over, you probably seen that there was, a total price for the project of $34,800. And then again, I'm looking for up to $38,000. And the reason being is because of the fact that I'm looking for an additional 100 properties to be, have the data collection. And that's 25 per parcel. That's an additional 2,500 for a total of 37,300. And like I said, up to the 38 that way there in case there was something else that we seen that should be brought forward and have them check it while they're out there doing the work as well. So that was my request for that. And just a quick update, if I will, too, with the memo that you received as well, is the SIC goals for 2023. They should be starting shortly. I'm hoping mid-September and completed by the end of FY23. And there'll be quite a bit of parcels done there. So we're looking like we're in pretty good shape. And I have, on my end in the office, I had mapped it out, all the cyclicals right up through 2029. So I have done that already as well for DOR to look at when they come into the office for the revaluation.
Terrific. Thank you, Kelly. Diana?
Yeah, Kelly, thank you very much for this. Could you just, for my review and also for the people that are watching this, explain how many properties are done each year? I noticed this was about 400, I think. We have about a little over 2,100 households, I believe, or properties. So what is the process going forward? How many of these parcels need to be assessed each year? And just give us a very brief, people understand.
So for the layout that I have up to 2029, I think the biggest year, I think it's going to be 2025. I made 2024 a lighter year being the reval year, and then putting that remainder into 2025 because the office is going to be extremely busy with reval questions, etc. However, throughout 2029 in the layout I have, it's approximately between 200 to 300, I believe it was, without it being in front of me right at the moment, per year.
It's important to sort of make this understood because in the next tax cycle, some people may get a revised tax bill and others may not. And so I just think we need to be very clear for the citizens so they understand that not everyone's going to get necessarily reassessed to the proper level this upcoming year, so that it's going to be done in stages. So I just wanted to put this out there so everyone understands what the process is. And I know it's complicated and most people don't understand taxes, but it's just to get a sense so that we don't get quite as much sticker shock among the
Right. Right.
So-
But that's the way it always has been, that, you know, these things are not all done at once and it does take time. So, John? Oh, go ahead, Kelly.
That's what I was just gonna follow up with, is that every property needs to have their an inspection done of it within 10 years. So like being 2024, the reval year, we're looking at properties, anything 2014 and older that has not had any inspection done of it. That's where our concentration is. Just, you know, to get us through the 2024 reval, and that'll put on our 10-year mark. So that's, it's basically a 10-year revolving cycle. And the state says that you will have all parcels done every 10 years. So again, taking that cycle of it being 2014, anything older than that has to be done before that being, you know, the 10-year, if that makes any sense.
It does. It does.
Really helpful to hear that, so people understand.
Yes.
So Kelly, a couple questions. Again, thanks for doing all this hard work. It really shows. Thanks for doing that. I was wondering, when was the last time the town had done such a number of parcels at once? How far behind are we?
Well, I'm looking, well, there's some without dates whatsoever, so I can't say if they've ever been looked at or not. But there's dates back to at least 2009 that I have on my list, I believe it is. I'd have to look again, but there's quite a bit of them. And there, like I said, there's a big bulk. I'm getting about 800 done with the cyclical this year. So
Wow.
that'll take a big chunk off the table for us and really push us forward, and helping us keep on track with everything. So as long as we can get the funding in and everything in place for DOR to look at come the beginning of the fiscal 2024, they see that I've implemented a plan within the office. Yes, the town has placed their funding together. This looks like it's a good working program. And if they see that, then we're probably going to be in real good shape.
Okay, so the DLR is really taking a close look at what Boxborough hasn't done, right?
Basically, absolutely. Yeah. I'm on a weekly call basis with the rep.
All right, Kelly, thanks so much. And this is
you're
only
welcome.
for real estate evaluation. This doesn't have anything to do with any commercial property in terms of, by that I mean, any property that a business might use for their business. In other words, assets that are inside of a building.
That would be personal property. Our personal property is in really good shape. Speaking with the contracting company that was with Boxborough prior to my arrival and who works our personal property, we are actually all set for our reval on that part of it. We're good. We've done every parcel, or they have done every parcel for the personal property aspect of it.
Okay, Kelly, thank you very much.
You're entirely welcome.
Does anyone else have anything? Okay, do I have a motion to authorize the town administrator to enter with Patriots Properties Incorporated for the fiscal year 2024 revaluation project in the amount of $38,000?
So
So
moved.
moved. Second?
Okay, any further discussion? Diana?
Lupari, aye.
Les?
Fox eye.
Wes?
Folks,
John?
Markowitz, aye.
And Campbell, I. Thank you, Kelly.
Oh, you're welcome. Have a great night.
You too.
Thank you.
Carter, did you want to take the accounting staffing out of order so that we can release Kelly Popriand?
I think that would be greatly appreciated.
Yes. All right. So I will turn that over to you, then, Carter.
A couple weeks ago, we appeared before you and presented a memorandum with respect to how the town might meet its needs to staff the accounting office. At that time, we laid out three options. One was to try to retain a full-time qualified, physically present municipal accountant. The second was to engage in a IMA, intermunicipal agreement, with a neighboring town and appropriate staffing at an administrative support level. The third was to retain a part-time accountant and back it up with a part-time administrative support position. We laid out for you our contacts with 13 municipal communities, none of which were able to extend services to the community. We gave you some specific quotes from some of those communities and from the Department of Revenue and others, speaking to the real lack of staff in the municipal sector at this point in time. We also ran through the recruiting history, if you will, going back to March of 19, March of 20, when your prior accountant had quit. You went through 2 rounds of advertising. Then we went through a round in January. We went through a round recently. And we said, you know, in order to try to address those folks who still believe that's the one and only way to go about it, we did advertise again. At the same time, we spoke to you about downsizing, if you will, the administrative support position at the police department, and recognizing that, you know, we might not get 2 part-time applicants, but we might get 1 person who could do both sides of the house, both the police and the accounting. And we ran all of that simultaneously. Now, the good news is that when we had this round of advertisements for the full-time physically present municipal accountant, we did get 1 interview. Unfortunately, the candidate was lacking. And in fact, the interview team, which consisted of Rajan and Jared Pate and Kelly Sozik, and a representative from the finance committee, actually terminated the interview barely into it. I believe it was around 20 minutes into the interview that they terminated it, having determined the candidate simply was not ready for prime time, I think is the kindest way to put it. At the same time, Kelly Pontbriand had interviewed with the police chief, the person that you met earlier, and both agreed that they thought she could perform the duties on both sides of the departmental needs. Now, we have had some folks say, well, you need to wait. You should wait for the incoming town administrator to make this decision. So a couple of things. One is that when you are a permanent town administrator, you manage the people who are there. You don't get to put life on hold. The second piece is that, you know, we have a interim accountant who's been working with us for a while, and does wonder what is her future with us, because she will get calls, and I know this in part because she's open and honest with me, and in part because I hear from some of the people that reach out to her, which is kind of a double blind, if you will. And my fear is that at some point, with her future with our community unsettled, she might say, you know, I've had an offer to go someplace for 3 years, and while I've enjoyed working with Jared and with Kelly and certainly Linda Collins and some of the other staff, 3 years of a known commodity is, or in some communities, there's absolutely no term, you're simply appointed, is better than a unknown future with Foxborough. We are entering tax recap season. We still have backlog of issues that we've been working on. We are entering budgeting season, and I would very much fear losing our accountancy at this point in time. The other thing is, I'm not sure what anybody thinks them going to bring you differently. This has been the same market since you advertised in March of 2020. You've advertised 4 times now. This market is not going to get considerably better anywhere in the near term. And you can see by the comments from some of my peers that this is the experience they're having as well. Given the concerns of some of maybe this isn't going to work out in the long term, maybe we should let the permanent TA wait. I did talk with Ms. Pontbriand and say, would you be willing to sign a 1-year contract? This would get you till having your fiscal 23 books closed. You'd be ready to start recap. And if your town administrator over the course of through the annual town meeting decides this simply doesn't work for him and wants to go in another route, he's got time to, or she has time to do something over, June, July, August, September, that when you're trying to close the books from 1 year and get your recap done and start your budget season. So I thank her very much for her willingness to agree to do that should the board decide to go forward. So I think we've really run the table of all the options, if you will.
Well, I'd like to say that, our job as a board is to set the next TA up for success. There's a lot going on in town, and this is one area where we can provide some stability. We know Kelly, we know how well she works with everybody. We'll now have Liz, who can provide some day-to-day support and face-to-face support. And I really think that this is an important 1-year contract, which obviously we love Kelly. She could stay forever, but it would be lovely to have a full-time in-person person, but that's just not looking viable. So I support this for the stability and setting up the next TA for success. John, and then Diana.
If I can, I just want to say, we also have a situation where we have Linda Collins in place to help with the transition with Liz. And I very much want to thank Linda Collins. She's really stretched herself and helped us through all of this, and we owe her a deep debt of gratitude. This truly is, Jennifer, I think the best, at least in the near term. And it's time to put a little bit of stability to this situation to the extent that we can.
Okay, John, and then Diana. John, you're muted.
I would agree. I think we need stability in our accounting and finance team. I think we're getting there. We've got some great new hires. It's clear from the discussions I've had with people and the interactions I've had with people. There's good chemistry amongst the people. They want to work together as a team. Kelly has gone above and beyond to try to do whatever the town needs, okay, in difficult situations. She did a presentation a few months ago to let people know what was working, what wasn't working, what changes needed to be made. I just think we can't afford to have a void right now. We would just be moving the town backwards, which we can't afford to do. So I strongly support this.
Hey, Diana, and then Wes.
I will make this very brief. I strongly support this as well. We have a very experienced accountant in Kelly. She's helped us set up some new systems. She's really found a lot of the issues that we've had sort of festering in the background for a while. And she's just very experienced, and we need someone at that level. And having sat in on the last interviews for an accountant that we hired, I know how difficult it is. So I really strongly do support this move. Hopefully the board will support it in total.
Okay, Wes.
Maybe this might be extreme by some, but I have no issue appointing her for a term of 3 years, given that we just hired permanently a part-time person for the police assistant for the police department. And if the the role of this is to work in tandem. I also honestly don't personally see the job market changing drastically in 1 year or 2 years and potentially 3 years, but to provide that ability for stability, having the appointment and the contract is fine because there are parameters which allow us to terminate it early if and or the other opposite side to terminate that early as well. And so I might even recommend that we do the 3-year appointment because that is just, it's an easy way for us to say, look at, that's one more thing that we don't need to have on the new town administrator's plate come less than a year from now. Or
Diana?
Wes, that's an extremely good point because it is true. A year goes by very quickly. Assuming we have a new town administrator within the next 3 or 4 months or whatever, it's barely enough time to handle a lot of the other issues. I would support a 3-year contract.
I support it in theory. I think in practice, it might be better to just do the 1 year at this point so that we give some flexibility to the town administrator in order to make a change should they want to. But I think, you know, in general, I am very confident that this setup that Carter is proposing, that Kelly has agreed to, will work for right now. John? You're muted.
I think the proposal from Wes and the ones and supported by Diana, it makes sense, but what I would like us to do is to, let's put Kelly in place for a year, but let's make a decision as a board that prior to annual town meeting, we ask the new town administrator and this board to review this, to see if we can bring forward a 3-year contract prior to town meeting. That gives the town administrator, the new town administrator, a chance to work with her, see how it's working, and I think it would be fantastic if we could do it if it works well for everyone, because she's done a fantastic job and she knows our system. Okay. She knows our weaknesses and she knows the team. So there's an awful lot of value there, but I think let's see how it works. Let's see how the new town administrator feels, but let's make sure as a board, we put it on our agenda before the annual town meeting.
Yes. And I think that because we don't have the current feeling from the FinCom, who obviously has a very vested interest in the accountant, is that, you know, they're not sure that this plan will work. We'll give them, you know, the time to see how it does work. And then we make it a year. And then I like the idea of trying to extend for 3 years after that, if it works, but we will need to, you know, show people and demonstrate that this works. Does anyone want to make a motion? Oh, go ahead, Wes.
Would the board then consider a 2-year? I'm just thinking, right, if we're handing off a lot of moving things to the new town administrator, with all due respect to this new person coming in, having Kelly there is going to be no different than having our other Kelly there or Rajon there in that respect. And so it's kind of giving them that or that. And if, again, going back to the point that we literally just hired somebody whose role was to work with whoever the part-time accountant was or back that up, you're kind of, I don't want to say like shooting yourself in the knee just to say, okay, guys, we're listening. But even 2 years at a minimum would be my recommendation, because you do have somebody coming in 3 months and then drinking from the fire hose. And while we do have that right to appoint them, that is just something else that will have to come up again and more work. And I can only imagine the amount of stuff that will come up by the time we get to the next town meeting.
Okay, John?
Yeah, so I actually think Wes made a great idea. That's a great idea, Wes, because if you think about all the moving parts that we have, okay? So let's say we wait until April of next year, just before town meeting, to make a decision. That's another variable that will have to be thrown into the pot as we start another fiscal year with a town administrator who would have only been here 6 months or something like that. I think what we need is stability in our finance and accounting departments, and that would provide us a definite 2-year stability track record or a 2-year stability platform and framework to work from. So I would support a 2-year contract.
Well, I think one of the important questions we need to ask is, would Kelly accept a 2-year contract? Because
Okay.
we could offer her a 40-year contract, but she
Right.
may not want that.
That's a good question.
Yes.
Yes, I would be fine with the 2-year contract.
Okay. Thank you, Kelly.
Thanks,
You're
Kelly.
welcome.
So I make a motion that we offer a 2-year contract to Kelly for accounting services, and that Carter, I don't have the exact wording. of the
It's the move to confirm the appointment of Miss Kelly Pomprion to the halftime position of the accountant for a term to end on September 30th, 2024.
Second.
So moved.
Okay.
All right. Yeah, I think I kind of like the 1 year, but if this seems to be the will of the board, I will vote for it. Any further discussion?
It seems like
Okay.
a good plan.
Okay. Diana,
Lupari, aye.
Les,
Fox eye.
Wes,
Folks, aye.
John,
Markowitz, aye.
and Campbell, I. Thank you very much, Kelly.
Thank
Thanks,
you very
Kelly.
much. I appreciate it. And I hope that I can continue to do the great job for you that I've been doing. And I appreciate your support in me.
Good.
Thank
All right.
you.
Thank
Have a
you.
great
Well
night.
deserved, Kelly. Well deserved.
Thank you.
Thanks. All right, so we'll go back to the revisions of the BBC and the Water Resources Committee
Yep.
charter. Les, I'll turn those, Carter?
If I might, there were 2 other parts. The first is
Oh,
the authority for me to enter into the contract, and then there's the general approval of the staffing plan. Because the offer that we made to that employee was dependent upon all of your actions tonight. They're definitely going to the police department. What flavor of pie they had for their other half the job, we told them would remain contingent upon what you all did here tonight.
Hello again, Liz. So I guess I'll move to authorize the town administrator to execute a contract for said services with that previously approved for the halftime position, or this is the building inspector one, and then you want to do the other one?
We're using the model of the building inspector.
Approved for the halftime position of the accountant and at no greater rate of compensation than currently paid.
Second.
Okay, any further discussion? Diana,
Lupari, aye.
Les,
Fox eye.
Wes,
Folks, aye.
John,
Markowitz, aye.
and Campbell, I.
Then I'll make a motion to approve the plan for the creation of an additional halftime support position consistent with the accountant staffing plan memorandum of September 8th, 2022.
Second.
Any further discussion? Diana,
Lupari, aye.
Les,
Fox eye.
Wes,
Folks, aye.
John,
Markowitz, aye.
and Campbell, I. Thank you.
Thank you to the board for your support and your understanding of the marketplace as it challenges us almost daily. Thank you.
Yep.
Okay, now we can go to the revisions of your charters. Les, go ahead.
Okay, thanks, Jen. Okay, so there are 2 things coming up. Really amounts to some deferred housekeeping that deals with some things that have evolved since the charters were originally put in place. And then we'll talk about the building committee charter first, and then go to the water resources committee. So as you'll notice on the markup, I don't know if it's necessary. I have a hard copy here I can refer to, but if people would like to put up and look at the markup, Rajan, maybe you could do that. So while Rajan is finding that file, the building committee started immediately after the disbandment of the original snag committee. And so it had a charter that was in effect in 2016 and eventually revised after that and approved in 2020. That 2020 revision was designed to supersede that. And so this revision tries to tie up a few loose ends and deal with the fact that the charter has a number of positions that are mandatory appointments. That is, it has the language shall appoint, that the board shall appoint persons from certain boards. And as time has gone on, what we've found is that, and this has been true elsewhere, that people may step down from committees and for a variety of reasons, it becomes necessary to address the fact that, well, now the committee's constitution may be not consistent with the charter. So it's a defect in composition, if you will, and it's good not to have such defects. So my intent here with these revisions is basically to allow the building committee to continue to operate with the folks that are currently in place and being productive in that work, but remove the handcuffs, if you will, or the constraints of operating under this charter with mandatory language where it really doesn't serve a useful purpose anymore, and to allow the board the flexibility to continue to appoint members as recommended by the named boards that have been involved all along, or to look elsewhere as the case may be. We would still maintain the same minimum strength of 11 members appointed. And by the way, one of the things I want to point out is that this committee has, every member on the committee is a voting member. So in case, no, I see my screen has told me that John's raised his hand. Oh, John, you have a question now?
Oh, no, let's keep going and then I'll ask my question.
Okay. So that's the big picture of what's going on here. Some other things that happened along the way are that originally the planning board was very active in the committee, and we had members from the planning board involved. And at the first charter revision, the planning board, I believe Cindy Markowitz was perhaps chair at the time, thought that it would not be good to have the planning board involved in the building committee, because if the building committee were successful, then ultimately the planning board would be sitting on a site plan review involving what came out of the work of the building committee. And so that would be setting up someone for a conflict. So in fact, we haven't actually had someone from the planning board actively engaged for some time. Although Cindy does come from time to time, and occasionally Mark Barbadero checks in on things. But nonetheless, that charter defect, if you will, is there. Another thing that happened is in the case of a member of the Sustainability Committee, required by the original charter, but the incumbent decided not to continue to be appointed to the Sustainability Committee, but wanted to continue in service for the building committee and was capable and competent to continue to represent the interests of the Sustainability Committee. So those are the kinds of issues that we're attempting to address here. Another one is that Brian Lynch has been a member representing the Board of Health on the committee, and he elected not to get it reelected to the Board of Health. So that position needs to be addressed. So that is what driving the changes I'm suggesting for the charter for the building committee. It basically would allow the committee to continue to operate with the members in place as it's been operating, with a high level principle being that, and this comes out of the results of the SNAG effort, where it was felt by a combination of the finance committee and the select board, who jointly put their heads together to come up with this plan, by the way, that to make sure everyone's on the same page, that we ought to sort of stack the deck, if you will, and make sure that there are committee has 2 members from the finance committee and 2 members from the select board steering the boat. 1 member from the select board would be elected as chair, and a member from the finance committee elected as vice chair. And that's the way we've been working.
Mhm.
This change in this language would allow that to continue to happen, but it would remove the requirement that there be a member from each like that. And well, there has to be at least 1, but it does not require that there be 2 from each committee. So if things go along as they are, then we'll likely have 2 volunteers from the select board to be appointed to the building committee. And we'll have 2 volunteers or recommended by the finance committee to be appointed to the building committee, and we can continue on as we've been operating. And we'll be able to look to members at large to fill in the role left behind by the vacant seat from the sustainability committee, who may very well tell us that they are happy to have Larry Grossman continue to represent their interests as a member of the building committee with architectural credentials and a knowledge of sustainability principles and design. So that's kind of a twofer with him. He satisfies both things, but we haven't actually addressed this issue in the charter, and we haven't got a confirmation from the sustainability committee that that is agreeable to them. I have heard no objections, but we need to really go in there and check. I think that is really the gist of it. That's why the language says that we shall have a member from the select board and 1 member from the finance committee, and will endeavor to appoint members that continue to represent a broad spectrum of the community. That was the whole point of having a big committee. It was pushed back in the beginning that, we got too many members here. Nobody's going to run a committee with a lot of members like that. However, it's kind of moved along, and I think we have been able to use the fact that our committees are active in town and represent a lot of constituencies to get representation and input from those constituencies into what the building committee has been up to. And the other thing is that the election will still have the provision that that the chair's position will be filled by a member of the select board who was a member, and the FinCom member would be elected as a vice chair, as before. So that's it at a high level. I don't think I left anything out. I just
have a quick question. It says election of a BBC member as chair. Should that be Boxborough Select Board? Because that BBC is building committee.
Oh, yes. Well, it's true, but insufficient. Yes, it should say a select board. Thanks, Jen. That's a good catch.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Shall elect a select board member of the BBC is what it should have said.
Yes.
So I'll tweak that. A good catch.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay, so-
John and then Diana.
Yeah, so Les, thanks for doing this. I just have a couple of questions. So it says that there'll be a minimum of 11 members.
Yeah.
Is there any maximum?
No,
Okay. So it
only
says that
common sense.
Okay, okay. Sometimes that can be in short supply. Okay.
Right.
So a quorum will be half of the appointed members, right?
Right.
That's what it is. So basically, if it's a minimum of 11, we're saying that a quorum is going to be 6.
If you appoint them, yes. Now, if they're not if it says appointed, that means that they have to be appointed. It doesn't say authorized members. So that's the difference between those 2 ways of wording that. So it goes with what's actually in place. Okay.
Okay. So now I'm getting a little confused between appointed and authorized, but all of them are voting. Right?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. So is an authorized member the 2 select board members, the 2 FinCom meeting members, the 2 citizens at large?
At least 2 citizens at large.
At least 2 citizens at large.
Right.
So that gives us 6, and then a planning board member, a board of health member, a council on aging member?
Well,
or
it's
retcon?
leaving the planning board in there, kind of leaving the option up to the planning board whether they do or do not wish to bring someone forward, because my reading in the past was that they did not want to compromise themselves in a site plan review by sitting on the building committee's work ahead of time. So that's kind of an open question. I don't want to necessarily preclude it by leaving it out of the charter, so the door is left open.
Okay, so if they were to bring someone forward, that would be considered an appointed person?
If we appoint them,
Okay.
they would be
What was-
recommending to this board a member of the planning board for appointment to the building committee.
Okay, and what was the other category you mentioned? Less appointed, and what's the other one?
They're all appointed.
Okay,
We used to have this notion of non-voting members, but we don't call them non-voting members. They're called advisory board. For example, the two chiefs and the Lieutenant Malinowski, the
they're
building
non-vote,
inspector.
yeah, on page 2, that has them as non-voting advisors.
Right.
Okay. So when you look to add at least 2 members at large, you would be looking to add citizens that have the background that you mentioned?
Well, that would be a nice thing to
Ideal.
have. Pardon?
That would be ideal.
That would be ideal, but there may be plenty of people out there who really are passionate about helping with this work, and we would like to hear from them as well.
Okay, so where we stand is everybody that's on the committee today stays on the committee.
They would have the option to, and I would expect they would. They've certainly been very involved, right, and still are.
Okay, and then the only thing is then you would add the 2 members at large.
Well, we have members at large. We could continue to add members at large. Right.
Okay.
Now, and so let's talk about Becca Edson, we just accepted her resignation. So that leaves a seat, if you will. So we should probably ask the Recreation Commission, do they want to recommend someone from the Recreation Commission for tradition to sit on the building committee? And if they do, we would take that up. If they don't, then we would probably want to look at the community at large for someone to take on that role. The other thing to keep in mind here is that, these charters were developed, at launch time when we didn't know where we would be.
Right.
And now we're getting into a point which I'll talk about later this evening, but we've actually got an RFQ issued. We expect to be getting proposals in over the next week or so. And so the next phase of work would be actually working with consultants to review the prior studies and start to move towards a recommendation to a town meeting on what we're going to do with the results of all this work, and perhaps bringing forward a proposal to fund a serious design study and hire an OPM and all that. So that might argue for, another change in the composition or expansion of the committee, although we want to be wary of having it to become too large.
Right. So Les, the only thing when I looked at the list, okay, I counted 2 select board members, 2 FinCom members, possibly, and 2 citizens at large. And then if I added whether or not there's a planning board member, Board of Health, Council on Aging, Retcom, Housing Board, and Sustainability, I get to an even number. I wonder if you want to put in here that the building committee should have an odd number of members.
I did that same math that you just did, John, and after I sent this off, and I wondered about that myself. We could modify it to say that the select board shall endeavor to appoint an odd number of members, et cetera, et cetera. But it didn't get past me at the editorial desk.
Okay, just something to think about. But
Yeah,
Les, thanks for putting it together. I know it's a lot of work.
Okay, Diana? Oh, you're muted.
I'm having some trouble with the numbers. Could you go back to the first page, Rajan? So the way I counted originally, it was 2 select board members, 2 FinCom members, which makes 4. And then you have basically named Planning Board, Board of Health, Council on Aging, Rec Committee, Housing Board, and Sustainability. right? Which makes 10. And then up shall also appoint at least 2 Boxborough residents at large too. That makes 12, correct? Okay. So if you subtract, let's just say we don't appoint 2 select board members or 2 FinCom members, now you're down to 10. And you're saying that there should be a minimum of 11 members, which means then you've got to find additional at-large members.
Right.
My suggestion would be to take the minimum number down to 9 and continue with what you have here, because that gives some leeway. How many members are currently on the building committee?
Well, there's 11 now, prior to the resignation of Maria and Becca. So there were 11 at that time. And by the way, of that 11, 1, 2, 3, 4 are at-large members. So 2 select board, 2 FinCom, 4 at-large, RecCom, Housing Board, and Board of Health, and COA.
Right. So, first of all, I'm suggesting that they're qualified to represent needs of the various committees, that you're talking about 1 member from each.
Yes, yes, and this is kind of a case like in specifications. If it's not stated, it's not allowed, right? So the only board that are allowed to have more than 1 member are the select board and the finance committee.
And the members at large. So I still,
Right.
If you take down the minimum number to 9, which I still think is a very large committee, and I still think it would be representative, it gives you some leeway in terms of, not having a planning board member, for example, or only having 3 or 2 at-large members. It's just a suggestion, because I think 9 is a better number than 11.
Well, right now, I would be loath to ask someone to leave because of making that kind of a change.
So it says a minimum of 9 is what she's saying. So you can have more.
Right.
Well, minimum of 9.
Down. That's all. To 9, so that it accounts for the fact that in the future, perhaps there are not 2 select board members or 2 FinCom members.
Yeah, I mean, so we have a minimum of 9 with preference for an odd number, right? So
yeah. I mean, I don't think the odd number is as important because it's still a quorum requirement if you have 6.
Yeah.
It's actually what's recommended though by I know the state because the library trustees have 6. And I remember getting queried by that because, we had an even number. So you don't have a tiebreaker.
Yeah, the only way you can do that is to regulate, for example, the exact number from each.
Right.
From each class. But if you take it down to a minimum of 9 members, then you have leeway going forward. I'm just suggesting it because I think we don't want to be coming back to this again. And if you were to lose a couple of members at this point, you would be below that minimum and not be able to operate.
Yes, right. Well, I hope I did the math, but I think your minimum of 9 would work.
Yeah, because that doesn't preclude you.
Right.
And certainly the planning board could appoint somebody that's not even on their board.
Yeah,
could
they
appoint
may change their minds. They say
Yeah.
they're not on there now.
Right.
Right, exactly.
So basically what we have is a couple of changes. In that line referred to as the BBC to be comprised of a minimum of 9 members with a preference for an odd number who shall be individuals, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And then the other change that I identified on the next page about specifying that the chair be from the select board. But otherwise, This looks really good to me. Does anyone have any other feedback on it or questions for Les?
I agree.
Okay, do I have a motion to approve as amended? Let's see, I move. Go ahead.
Okay, I move to approve the revision of the charter of the Boxborough Building Committee as amended.
Second.
Any further discussion? Okay, Diana?
Lopari, aye.
Les?
Fox, aye.
Wes?
Fox, aye.
John?
Markowitz, aye.
And Campbell, I. Thanks, Les. All right, so moving on to water resources.
Right, as I said, there are similar issues here. One of which is that Brian Lynch was one of the founding members of the Water Resources Committee and a professional engineer and a real water wizard. Decided not to run for the Board of Health again, but wanted to be able to serve. So his board, the Board of Health, elected to appoint him as their agent to represent their interests on the Water Resources Committee. And as a independent board with those kinds of powers, that's what they did.
And
So,
we approved that appointment. No, we didn't.
We already approved that,
Okay.
but we never went back and fixed up the charter language.
Okay.
The other one is that the planning board is now being represented by their associate member, Janet Connolly, who we did appoint already, but we never changed the charter to reflect that reality. So that's all that's going on here. So if you can you pull it down one more page and you'll see in the red font, you'll see those changes. Nothing's changed up there.
Oh,
That's
there we
it.
go.
That's it. You see.
Do we want to just go ahead and add or designated agent to Conscom and AgCom, just in case in the future those boards make the same decision?
Well, that's a good question. I don't know. See, the planning board and the Board of Health are like our board,
right?
Set up in statute. They have appointing powers, and the committees under our board don't necessarily have those powers. So I don't know. I haven't really explored that. Would it stand legal muster? Does it matter? I could ask them to see if they're agreeable to that.
Les, I agree with you about that. I think there is a big difference between an elected board and an appointed board.
Okay.
So I think we could leave it. If it comes up in the future, we could revisit it.
Yeah. Right. For example, the Board of Health cases was inspired by the fact that Pam Follett, who used to be on the Board of Health and did not want to continue, she became their designated agent for the Board of Health to represent matters related to biosafety and biohazards.
Okay, so these are the only changes then. Does anyone have any other questions for Les on this? Do you want to make a motion, John?
I move to approve the revisions of the charter of the Water Resource Committee as presented.
Second.
Any further discussion? Diana?
Lepari, aye.
Les?
Fox, aye.
Wes?
Fox, aye.
John?
Markowitz, aye.
And Campbell, aye. All right, thank you. That takes us to the end of all of our new business. We have no old business. So does anyone have any comments or reports?
Well, I'll just, since I was already talking, let me just say a little bit more about what I broached earlier. So the building committee did complete its request for qualifications for the review of the work of HKT on public safety building requirements or needs. And Rajon distributed the RFQ to a number of firms. It actually got posted on the town's bids page. And I don't know the total number that he sent out, but we did have 3 firms attend a pre-submission conference last Thursday, which went very well. And so now they have, the deadline was today for more questions, right, Rajon? So I think that's right. Remember?
Yeah, the deadline was today.
So they now have until the 16th to get their materials in that are required or called for in the RFQ. And then the committee will then have to decide what to do with the responses, which ones to pick for the next step, which is to invite at least 2 to present to the committee so that we can make a decision on who the committee should recommend to this board to issue a contract. that's where we are.
Thank you. All right. Anything else we should bring up tonight, Carter?
Nothing that I think we can comment on tonight. We have a request out or two to some firms we're working with, and if they deny us, we really wouldn't have anything to move forward on. So I'd like to let those firms take those requests under advisement.
Okay. All right. Okay, so if there's nothing else, I'm going to move to go in the executive session because we do not need to do the third part of it, the strategy sessions for non-union personnel. We're going to just skip over that in the motion. So I move to enter into executive session for the purposes to investigate charges of criminal misconduct or consider the filing of criminal complaints per Massachusetts General Law, Chapter 30A, subsection 21A, and to discuss strategy with respect to collective bargaining or litigation for Mass General Law, Chapter 30A, subsection 21A3, dispatch, DPW, fire, and police, and not to reconvene in open session. And just to note that discussion in open session may have a detrimental effect on the negotiation position of the board.
So moved.
Second,
Okay, Diana,
Lepari, aye.
Les,
Fox eye.
Wes,
Okay.
John,
Markowitz, aye.
and Campbell, I. All right, thank you, everyone.